thank you. Thank you for the good work as well. Senator Blackburn's next, and let the word go to the Democrats and Republicans. We are getting close to the end. The commissioner has been very patient, so there may be Democrats and Republicans who wish to still ask questions. We'll go with Senator Blackburn next, and then I'll have a question or two, but we're going to get this wrapped up pretty quick. So well, Democrats and Republicans, come if you're so inclined. Senator Blackburn.
Yes, thank you so much, and we appreciate the opportunity to have you before us and to talk about the president's budget. One thing that I want to go to is the trust fund. And I know that the Social Security Trust Fund is needing to be shored up. It's to be exhausted in 2033. And then what we have read, CBO estimates that the program will pay a 75% benefit in 2033. So when you were before us previously, you refused to take a position regarding what policy options should be explored to shore up the Social Security Trust Fund. So I'd like to know if you've settled on something. Have you made recommendations to the president? Why didn't we see those in the budget?
Well, Senator, I don't know that I so much refused to take a position as I deferred to the fact that you're the power that gets to make that decision, not me. When the president has said many times that he believes once people make over $400,000, they should start paying into Social Security again. Others have had other times at which they believe that should happen. And there are proposals out there. Your colleague from Rhode Island was just talking before you came in about those things. So I will work, our actuary will work confidentially with any of you who want to look at the various dials, as Senator Cassidy describes them, that are necessary to be adjusted for long-term solvency of the system. It is true that we face, once again, a depletion event like we faced in 1982. It's coming on us faster, but that doesn't mean that there isn't the will in this Congress to come together and push that out for another 75 years. The actuary told me there were two things that messed them up that they didn't account for. One was the breadth of the recession, kind of the 2007 to 2010 recession. Mm-hmm. And they said the other thing that we didn't account for was this. When President Reagan and Howard Baker and Tip O'Neill asked us to set a level, for income, they said to capture 90% of earned income. But then tax reforms happened after that 1982 fix, so they ended up only capturing 82% of earned income because we were going with this notion that if you let wealth concentrate at the highest levels of our country, that'll make the economy better. Agree or disagree with that, the mathematical effect on it was to move that depletion date from 2050 to 2034. 2034 is the combined date. And that can also change. The new actuary and trustees report will come out within the next 30 days, and we'll of course share it with you.
Okay, that is good. Let me ask you this: since you sit on the Board of Trustees for the fund, and the discussions with the board, what has been their approach to the solvency issue? Because I know Senator Cassidy, he and I've talked a lot. There are things Congress will need to do. There are things the administration is going to need to do. So as the Board of Trustees has looked at this, what has their approach to the solvency issue been? Well,
this will be my first meeting of that board. I understand through COVID they generally got into a habit of kind of accepting the report on Zoom. That's not really the deliberative body, as I understand it. The actuary is your best bet for sure of someone that can call balls and strikes and score the various policy changes. But I don't believe we would ever meet to try to pretend that we're the policy-making body on that. That's your prerogative. But I really would love, nothing would make me happier during my time here than to be able to serve the members of this committee or Congress overall in achieving what Tip O'Neill and Ronald Reagan did in their own day.
Okay. There have been a couple of mentions of staffing shortages and processing times, and we have looked at that. I found it curious in the president's budget. He has a national paid leave program that he's planning to have run out of Social Security, and you've mentioned difficulty in meeting the workload. You've even had something episodic telework, whatever that proposal is, but I would like for you to comment. Do you have the bandwidth to do a national paid leave program when your wait times have doubled since 2019? Yeah.
We would have the bandwidth if it comes with the funding that I understand is in the bill. On our current staffing, no, we would not be able to do that. But if the additional funding that comes with that is there to administer it, we could.
And returning people to in-person work?
Yeah, let me talk about that a little bit.
Yeah.
The episodic telework, a bit of a red herring. On February 2nd, I did an into-the-camera announcement to all of our staff and said, look, y'all, we are shifting now to a core collaboration days. What does that mean in effect? That means I'm in work 5 days a week, and the commissioner's office is 4 days of work, 4 days a week, one of telework. The field offices have been open 5 days a week, 9 to 5, ever since COVID ended. And their balance is an individual person is 3 days a week in the office, greeting customers, 2 days telework, where they get oftentimes a lot of their adjudicatory stuff done, the processing of the claims on the back end. And then in all of the regions, we also insisted that we be 3 days in the headquarters, even if you're regional headquarters, 2 days of telework. This episodic telework thing was, in essence, this. After I made that announcement, they said, well, what if somebody has a sick kid? Are you saying that they can't work from home when they have a sick kid and they have to stay home with that child? I said, well, we're not monsters. We're human beings. So, of course, they could do that episodic telework for a half day. Then our labor commissioner said to me, you know, the unions, the organized workforce is going to ask if they have it too. I said, don't they already? He said, no, they don't. I said, well, that's silly. And I had heard, because I traveled all around the country and all 9 regions did town halls. There was a young dad, I forget now, Kansas or San Francisco. He said, you know, I had a sick kid, had to get him to an emergency room, but my wife was coming off of her job at noon. And all I said to my boss was, could I have the morning off and come give you a full shift in the afternoon in the teleservice center? And she said, no, we don't do that. And I said, well, that's stupid. Don't we want more people on the phones when we're suffering from a staffing shortage? Our lowest staffing in 27 years with the highest number of beneficiaries. But that's the point of that is, and unpacking that on your time, is that we have shifted to more people on site, and that's across the country.
This is an important issue. We're just going to have to move